Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Erik Prado, and this is Sam Sherman. This is a live update from Memorial Stadium after the Illinois football team defeated Minnesota Golden Gophers 28-24.
I'm sorry, Erik, what did you say?
Illinois defeated Minnesota.
Wow.
28-24 on this homecoming weekend.
And what conference does Minnesota play?
The Big Ten, yeah.
So it's a Big Ten win.
It's Illinois' second ever Big Ten win under Tim Beckman.
There you go, folks.
So I guess you could say history was made. It was kind of a different team out there today. We're expecting Minnesota's David Cobb to almost run all over the Illini defense.
Just like Melvin Gordon did,
Amir
just
Abdullah.
like Abdullah, just like every running back.
Yeah,
Illinois
and
faces.
that didn't happen today.
Mm-hmm.
The Illini defense, obviously, the defense and the coaching staff obviously used that bye week to their full advantage. This was a different defense out there today. What are your early thoughts on how this teams performed today?
I mean, in the second half, specifically the third quarter, the defense showed some holes that kind of people were like, oh, here we go again. But with the exception of that, they were dominant today. I mean, they were performing like this, people had not seen really at all this season. Small flashes maybe in certain points of games, but they were getting big stops. They were getting, they had the couple turnovers today.
3 turnovers.
Huge turnovers.
Yeah.
And then you go to the other side of the ball, and Riley O'Toole played so well that no one was even missing Aaron Bailey out there.
No, the turnovers are huge. Last year, this team was barely getting any turnovers. Today, they had 2. One of them, which was returned for a fumble by Vangelo Bentley, and that turned out to be the winning score. And then the offense, they didn't ask O'Toole to do much. They simply wanted him to manage the game and put up points, and that's what he did, especially in the first quarter, 14 points. And you can tell on the field there was a lot of quick passes, short screens, running plays. He was running it himself.
Yeah.
And so he did what he was asked to do.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to sling it at all. I think that they knew that. And bring up Aaron Bailey, and this is probably going to be the most controversial or the biggest talking point after this. And it was well known he was going to come in at some point, and it was scripted when he was going to come in. It just so happened that when he came in was after O'Toole and the offense were gaining momentum, and Bailey's only series of the game was just a train wreck.
Well, I mean, we were in Madison doing our post-game podcast, 2 weeks ago now?
2 weeks ago,
2 weeks ago. And we'd just seen Bailey look really impressive in the short time that he had played. And I think not just us, but a lot of people were ready to see, okay, now it's Bailey time.
Yeah.
See what he can do. And the fact that the mentality, I think, now is, if Riley plays like this, then I think, then like this, though, good managing the game. No, you don't go out, as long as he's not losing the game for them.
Yeah.
And I think it sounds obvious, but really don't try and do too much. And to think of kind of that mindset switch now where people aren't even thinking about Bailey as much and kind of just going forward and thinking what we kind of knew that this offense had that potential, but I think now it turns a little bit because I think people might be thinking now, and I know I am, can this defense sustain?
Yeah. That's going to be a tough one to answer, especially considering their next opponent's 13th Ohio State at Ohio State. But, yeah, I mean, I think the way – I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, okay, so, if we're going – even though we'll talk a little bit more about this game in a second, but going forward, looking at that Ohio State game, that's going to be – that's a night game, right, under the lights. I don't think people are going to expect Illinois to win that game.
No, definitely not.
But what I think after a game like this, that they had against Minnesota, I think a realistic, or not even realistic, but a hopeful expectation is that they've given them a game. They kind of show that they can take momentum from game in, game out. Another talking point is Tim Beckman and his coaching staff. I think last week it was pretty obvious. Or 2 weeks ago rather, it's pretty obvious that didn't seem like he had a future here.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that this game answered any more questions, but it certainly creates more. And it kind of, you just think, can the coaching staff take a big win and
sustain the
sustain
momentum.
it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point because in 2013, so they're 4-4 right now. The team did not reach their fourth win last year until late November, almost second to last game, if I'm not mistaken. They have their fourth win near the end of October. They have a home game against Iowa, Penn State, and essentially a third home game at Northwestern. If they sustain the momentum, a bowl win is bowl berth is a real
bowl win is a whole other story. But I really think that a game like this shows that maybe that Iowa, Penn State, and then Northwestern game, not all three of them necessarily, but maybe one or two could be winnable.
Yeah, definitely.
If they can play like this.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's going to come down to game plan and execution, and that's what the coaches stress is. They were executing. Tim Banks specifically. I mean, the defense they deservedly have been under fire the entire season. And Banks just was. You just said, I asked him what was the difference? We just executed better. There wasn't as many missed tackles. Yeah, the third quarter there was 21 unanswered points. No, excuse me, it was the 21 points. The line I put up 7. And we saw Minnesota complete a few long passes, which is not like Minnesota. Minnesota's run first.
But Illinois made them throw it, and actually while that was effective for a while, they by forcing them to still pass because the run game was not a whole lot was going on for the most part. At a certain point, those stuff starts to kind of crack, and it shows. Well, maybe this is why Minnesota's not a throwing team, and that's what Illinois kind of forced them to show.
Yeah, and and we were hesitant to say that they could win just because I guess Wisconsin couldn't throw the ball either, and Illinois was just run all over. And so for Cobb to come in and the defense just completely shut them down, it was just kind of eye opening. Where has this been the entire season?
Yeah,
maybe that bye was a perfect bye,
Yeah, and players were talking about it. They said that was important. That was big for them to be able to kind of just take a week off. Maybe I don't want to say relax because they were still probably thinking about the games and stuff, but just kind of see their families and think about the season as a whole. And I think especially, how fun you think this is for a lot of the seniors out there. And just for the team and the fans.
Yeah, definitely. This is their Illinois' first home Big Ten win since 2011 when they defeated Northwestern.
Yeah.
It's almost was that 3 years?
Yeah.
Almost, yeah. Date-wise, almost 3 years. Like that. Just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
These fans haven't seen a home Big Ten win in that long, and you could tell on the field just how happy they are. I don't think I've seen that much joy out of a team in the 2 years that I've been here.
And that's the thing is going into their next game at Ohio State, it's going to be a tough game. It is, but I don't think a win is necessarily what you need to go out of there to continue your momentum into more winnable games. I just think that they need to show that this game was not a fluke. Yeah,
keep it close, keep it respectable. I'm just gonna be curious to see what kind of game plan they're gonna have next week.
Yeah.
Are they gonna take a more conservative approach, keep the ball out of JT Barrett's hands, or are they gonna open it up with O'Toole, let him sling it around, see what happens? It's a road game. You got nothing to lose. Might as well. There's arguments to both sides.
Yeah.
But all eyes are going to be on the defense.
Yeah.
I think
just to see if they can do it again,
yeah.
or show. I don't even forget about flashes. In this game, they showed a good defensive game. So I think that will have there'll be more breaks next week against a better offense. But did they learn something from this week?
Right.
What can they take away? So
Exactly. So, to conclude, Illinois defeated Minnesota 28-24. Illinois now stands at 500, 4-4 on the season. Next week they head to Ohio State. Should be a night game. And, thank you for listening. Sam Sherman, I'm Erik Prado. Have a fun but safe homecoming weekend, and until next time.